Good evening. Welcome to the Brattleboro Selectboard Meeting of February 1st, 2022. This is a regular meeting, and Yoshi, has it been properly warned?
Yes.
Great. All right. First order of business is to approve the minutes. Has everyone reviewed the minutes? Does someone want to make a motion? Mr. Clerk?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the minutes for January 18th, 2022.
Great. Danielle has moved to approve the minutes of January 18th, 2022. All select board members in favor of that motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That's unanimous. Chair's remarks. I have one broken record remark. Please get vaccinated, get fully vaccinated, and get boosted. And then maybe we could stop wearing masks. Yoshi, do you have any comments?
I do. I just have one comment. We've had a couple of inquiries into town hall about town's warming sites. I know tonight is not as cold, but we've had some pretty frigid temperature lately. So I just want to give those addresses, and what we'll do is we'll also put them on the website. It's Groundworks Drop-In Center is at 60 South Main Street. That's open 24 hours a day. Brattleboro Senior Center at 207 Main Street is open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the Central Fire Station is open 24 hours, but they are only open for short stays. So again, we'll put those on the website. But again, those are the three warming centers that we have in town.
Thank you, Yoshi. Are there select board members who would like to make comments? Daniel?
Yeah, I just wanted to wish all the people in our community who are celebrating the Lunar New Year, Happy New Year.
Jess?
Sure. Another thing to celebrate is that it's Black History Month, and it's really exciting. I know our schools are getting involved, and it's really great to see and celebrate the history of our fellow Americans here in Brattleboro.
Thank you, Jess. Okay. Public participation. Patrick, are there members of the public who would like to speak on a matter that is not on tonight's agenda? Please raise your hand.
Not at this time.
Very good. All right. Let's move into the consent agenda. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. The paperwork has been published. Item A, police interview room, awarding of a bid. Item B, approve annual certificate of highway mileage for V-Trans. Item C, the grand list certification of no appeals or suit pending. Item D, bylaw modernization grant to accept and appropriate. And the last item, to announce the dates and times of informational meetings in preparation for the 2022 representative town meeting. Can I have a motion of people to approve the consent agenda? Yes.
Yes, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Great. Ian has moved to approve the consent agenda as presented. All select board members in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Another unanimous vote. All right. Now, we get to convene as liquor commissioners. All those in favor of convening as liquor commissioners, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Very good. All right. Liquor license renewal. There's a lot of them. Patrick, are you discussing this or you?
Yes.
I was actually thinking it might be Town Clerk Hillary French.
Well, there she
Yes,
is.
Town Clerk Hillary French.
Welcome, Hillary. Please tell
Thank
us.
you. Good evening. So as many of you may remember, each year around this time, you get to review all of the liquor license renewals. What that entails, there's first class, second class, and third class liquor licenses, outside consumption permits, and annual entertainment licenses. And the current licenses expire April 30th. The Department of Liquor Control sends us their the renewal forms. We send that out to the businesses, and then they have to get us their renewal forms, their checks, and additional paperwork from the town. Assuming that that's all complete and accurate, and you all have no concerns with that, you approve it. We send the approved applications up to the DLC. They approve and then send it back to us to sign off and issue the licenses to the liquor license holders. So that's the process that we're going through currently. Staff recommends approval of all of the liquor licenses that you see in front of you, with one special situation, and that is McNeil's. As you may see in the memo that I submitted, the fire department noted some structural issues with the building that McNeil's operates out of. McNeil's is fully aware of that. They're intending to work on that. And we discussed it, and their concern is if they lapse their renewal, if they lapse their liquor license, and then they do all the work, then they have to go through the process to apply for a liquor license. The DLC sometimes takes up to 3 months to approve a license. So what we're recommending is a select board approval on that. We'll send it up to the DLC. Assuming that they approve it, they'll send it back to us, and I will hold that and not issue it until the fire department signs off on the structural work that McNeil's does. Beyond that, there were no violations reported from the DLC on any of the businesses that you have in front of you. And again, staff recommends approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Hillary. That sounds like a good solution for the McNeil matter. Is there any discussion among select board members?
I'll just say that no violations is a good thing. It seems like
Absolutely.
we have some responsible license holders, and
Yes.
it could be partially due to pandemic things and less officers on duty. I'm not sure, but it certainly is a good thing to not have dings
No violations
on the
is
record.
always good. Yes. All right, Patrick, are there any members of the public who wish to speak before this begins? Before we vote?
Not at this time.
Great. Would someone like to make a motion?
I did have
Oh,
another
yes.
question, just for Hillary and the group. It was a really great process that you outlined with how all this works and happens. I'm curious about as we foray into, and I don't want to talk about this very much because I know it's not on the agenda, but do you imagine that when we form a cannabis commission in town for local cannabis sales, the process might be similar to what you just explained for the liquor commissioners?
I don't really know how to answer that question yet. We haven't been given much guidance yet as to what that is going to look like. And my understanding, and Tim, you might be able to answer this better than I can because you've been heavily involved. My understanding is that towns can opt in to an approval process, but they're not required to. And so some towns may just have applications go directly to the state. Others may go through a process like what we're doing now. But I don't have a concrete answer to that.
I don't really have too much more information, but my understanding is that we will be deliberating how and if we were going to become marijuana commissioners. And if that takes place, if the board decides that's the way to go, then I do believe it's going to look similar to that. But again, as Hillary said, official specific guidance on this has not been issued. So we're all still wondering. Yeah, it would be appropriate to take that up fairly soon because we have some upcoming things going on. I think in April is supposed to be the time when towns will be issuing their part of the license. So we will
Okay,
see.
stay tuned. In the meantime, how about a motion?
I can give you one of those.
Thank you, Tim.
I move to approve the renewal of liquor licenses, outside consumption permits, and entertainment licenses for the entities presented with each individual license renewal contingent upon the licensees providing the town with the necessary documentation, not having any outstanding debt to the town, having a valid current business license, and complying with any police and fire department requirements.
Thank you, Tim. Tim has moved to approve the renewal of liquor licenses, outside consumption permits, and entertainment licenses for the entities presented, with each individual license renewal contingent upon the licensees providing the town with the necessary documentation, not having any outstanding debt to the town, having a valid current business license, and complying with any police and fire department requirements. All select board members voting in favor of this measure, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Again, unanimous. Thank you all. Thank you, Hillary.
Thanks, Hillary.
Good night.
Thank you. How about a motion to adjourn as liquor commissioners?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor of adjourning as liquor commissioners, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, and let's convene as water and sewer commissioners.
So moved.
All in favor of becoming water and sewer commissioners, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Great, that passed 5-0. All right, drinking water state revolving loan fund. Patrick?
Yes, ma'am. So the board and the public will likely recall that back in September of last year, the Department of Public Works, in cooperation with their engineer, Chrissy Haskins from Dufresne Group, came to the board with an opportunity. The state was offering up to a 100% forgivable loan for up to $100,000 in order to put together a capital projects plan within water distribution assets and to update the hydraulic model for the water system. So the board authorized an application. At that time, the application was approved. The loan documents have been prepared and are before you for your execution this evening. And it is, we have received 100% forgiveness on this loan. So the board can proceed with confidence that sometimes when the state grants money, it likes to call it something else, like a forgivable loan or subsidy or something like that. But this is support from the state to help us with improving and planning for the improvement of our water distribution system.
Well, that's a good thing. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I have a question about the planning process and if it might, I think early on in the process, or maybe several months ago, we talked about some of the possibilities about sustainable energy sourced from the hydraulic power of the hydropower going through the pipes and things like that. Would that be included in the capital sort of considerations?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. We can see Dan Tyler's in the meeting and we can ask him if he's aware of whether or not that project would be part of the within the scope. I'm speaking now to give Dan a couple of seconds to think about that and get ready. Dan, are you able to join us? Dan, can you hear us?
Hi, Dan.
I can hear you. Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
So the project, the hydraulic study project, is a review of the system as a whole. And, you know, the idea is that we'll update the hydraulic model, which is a computer model that allows us to evaluate pressures and flows throughout the system, as well as from that information, develop an asset management plan for the system as a whole to prioritize capital improvement projects. That hydropower project is something we're still investigating. I don't know that it's necessarily within the scope of this engineering review, but there's certainly information that we will glean from this that will be valuable in investigating that hydropower project.
Thank you.
Sounds like a yes and a no.
Thank you, Dan. Your question answered?
That was my question.
Thank you, Dan, very much. All right, are we ready to move this question?
Think so.
Jess?
Sure. I move to approve the loan agreement, including exhibits A through D, with the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund administered by the Vermont Municipal Bond Bank in the not to exceed sum of $100,000 for the Brattleboro Water Distribution Capital Planning Project, and to authorize the Select Board Chair, Elizabeth McLaughlin, to sign the loan agreement and any other documents necessary to execute the loan on behalf of the town.
Great. I think they know what
That's like
I'm an
sign
old
and
sinner,
co-sign.
but, all right. Jessica has moved to approve the loan agreement, including exhibits A through D with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund administered by the Vermont Municipal Bond Bank in the not to exceed sum of $100,000 for the Brattleboro Water Distribution Capital Planning Project, and to authorize Select Board Chair Elizabeth McLaughlin to sign the loan agreement and any other documents necessary to execute the loan on behalf of the town. All Select Board members in favor of this motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Another unanimous vote. Thank you all very much. If there's nothing further, I'll contemplate a motion to adjourn.
We're still water and sewer commission.
Oh, gosh, let's get out of being water and sewer commissioners. Jess?
Sure, yes. I move that we adjourn as Water and Sewer Commissioners.
Great. All in favor of adjourning as water and sewer commissioners, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Great, that's 5-0. Anyone like to adjourn this meeting in its entirety?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Daniel. All Select Board members in favor of adjournment, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 There you go. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can you send me-